Avatar: The Last Airbender raised the standards of what was considered possible in half-hour animated programming. Shows like Batman the Animated Series laid the framework, but Brian Konietzko and Michael Dante DiMartino's animated masterwork about tyranny, war, and balance demonstrated that a TV show like this, aimed at a younger audience, can be just as incisive and elegantly structured as any other form of drama. It proved that the old excuse of, oh, it's just a kid's show, it doesn't have to be good, is completely wrong. Shows can be appropriate for children, even directed at children, and still be some of the best of the age. It's a testament to the lasting appeal of Avatar: The Last Airbender that it still has a thriving fan community 15 years after its premiere. We're still talking about it, even though most shows that started airing around the same time have been completely forgotten. Because a significant portion of Avatar: The Last Airbender's fanbase during its run was teenagers and college students, two groups that tend to be very active in fan communities, Avatar: The Last Airbender developed a massive fandom, and with a massive fandom comes a lot of shipping discussions. This community started during the run of the show, but has continued to this day. If you're engaged with the Avatar fan community, but you need a refresher, or you're just getting invested in it for the first time after watching the Netflix show, or if you've been an Avatar fan for years but haven't really gotten into the fan community, and you're wondering what all these sort of bizarre couples' names are, well, this is the perfect video for you. I'm going to enumerate and briefly discuss the most popular pairings in Avatar: The Last Airbender. This does not mean I'm going to discuss every pairing in the show. That would be impossible. There are just too many pairings to talk about, and this video is not something I want to be over an hour long. If I did not talk about a pairing you really like, though, feel free to post it in the comments and give me your justification for why you really like it. Anyway, Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of the few masterpieces of television that is also widely accessible to a general audience, so it's not surprising that the show's fandom has grown significantly over time. Any fan community that can survive the egregious disaster of the 2010 M. Night Shyamalan movie and come out stronger deserves a lot of praise. As such, I'm willing to wager that even an absurd pairing that has no real grounding in the text, even contestably so, such as Zuko and Toph, probably has more fan art and fan fiction dedicated to it than the most popular pairings in less popular shows. I'm only going to focus on the pairings I see most often. So here we go. Kataang, Katara and Aang. This is the favorite pairing of the showrunners. It is also a significantly popular fan pairing, though it has also attracted significant criticism. Supporters claim it is sweet and tender, and that Katara finally turning away from bad boys and choosing the very nice Aang fits with her overall triumph over her dark side throughout the course of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Detractors claim it is unintentionally a wish-fulfillment fantasy, as it says far more about what Aang wants than what Katara wants. Anyway, Aang develops a crush on Katara as soon as he meets her, and he sustains this crush throughout Season 1. He becomes frustrated that his feelings for Katara are not reciprocated, especially in the episode The Fortune Teller, in which Sokka teases him about his crush on Katara, and Katara responds by saying that she just thinks of Aang like a sweet little creature. As in, she does not think of him differently from how she thinks of Momo. Aang spends most of the episode going to the fortune teller, trying to see if her tips can help him convince Katara to reciprocate his affections, but nothing really comes of that. In Season 2, in the episode The Cave of Two Lovers, Aang and Katara are in dire straits. Their situation is desperate. They are running out of light, so they decide on a plan. They will extinguish their torches, and then they will kiss, just like the lovers in the myth. They survive, not because they kiss, but because as soon as they extinguish their torches, they can see a path made of glowing stones leading to the exit of the caves. We don't see the kiss, leading some Avatar fans to doubt whether it actually happens, but I think it is very heavily implied that it does. We see them move in very close to each other before their torches extinguish, and afterwards Aang acts very awkward and embarrassed, and like he doesn't really know what to do. I highly doubt he would have reacted like this had the kiss not happened. Katara, meanwhile, just acts as though nothing has happened at all. In Season 3, Aang has a wild, sleep-deprived fantasy about Katara. He kisses her, she loves it, and he says, "Baby, you're my forever girl." In the next episode, 310, after he has gotten some much-needed sleep, he finally gets the opportunity to act out a much less silly version of this scenario. He kisses Katara right before he goes to fight the Fire Lord. Though she blushes, she looks more surprised than happy. And in the episode The Ember Island Players, episode 317, he kisses her again and she responds by saying that she's confused. Only after the end of the series, when the world has been saved and the Fire Nation defeated, do Aang and Katara finally share a reciprocal kiss. Zutara, Zuko and Katara, a very popular pairing among fans. While Kataang and Zutara are not the only two ships in the Avatar fandom, it can feel like that at times. Most of the acrimonious interactions between two pairings in the Avatar fandom has been in the case of these two pairings. This both applies to the initial run of the show and the fandom today. The rivalry continues, although it has died down at least a little bit. Thankfully, as back in the day, there were a lot of harassment instances, and it got very ugly. Anyways, supporters of Zutara claim that it's a more mature and equal pairing than Kataang, not only because it's between two thoughtful teenagers who've had to carry a much larger personal burden and have had to make a lot more difficult decisions and sacrifices than those around them, but also because they have both suffered loss and they cannot stop fixating on that loss. They understand how each other has suffered and how each other processes that suffering. Detractors, including the showrunners themselves, claim it is just another example of Katara being attracted to a bad boy, so the pairing would never last. The two of them are, to our knowledge, not in a relationship throughout the course of Avatar: The Last Airbender. But they do become quite close over the course of the series. He helps her find closure regarding the death of her mother. When he is doubtful his uncle Iroh will forgive him, she encourages him and says that of course he will, and she turns out to be right. It's not for nothing that Zuko chooses Katara to accompany him in the final battle against Azula. A gesture Katara repays by saving his life. If you want to know more about my thoughts on this pairing, I have made many videos on the topic, maybe too many, and you can check those out whenever. But for now, let's move on to Mako, Mai, and Zuko. This is Zuko's canon pairing. It is a quintessential example of someone falling in love with their childhood crush. So if you are a fan of that trope, you might really like this pairing. Supporters of this pairing tend to argue that there is real sweetness beneath the facade of cynicism in their relationship, while detractors claim that it is a toxic and uncomfortable and unhealthy relationship for the both of them. And because of this, these detractors claim that the show should not view this pairing positively. Sokka, Suki, and Sokka. Aside from being possibly the worst ship name I've ever heard, inside or outside the Avatar fandom, this is the canon pairing for Sokka and Suki. It's fairly popular. Its supporters claim that Suki never receives enough attention among Avatar fans, and that there are real moments of tender affection in this relationship. Detractors claim that Suki is one of the least developed main characters in Avatar: The Last Airbender, and that the interactions between these two feel rather perfunctory. They meet for the first time in episode 104 of The Warriors of Kyoshi, and they meet again midway through season 2 before Suki finally joins the group full-time after being rescued from prison in season 3. Toph, and Sokka. Although these two do not enter into a romantic pairing, throughout the course of Avatar: The Last Airbender, their bond becomes very close nonetheless. They grow to really understand each other. Toph has a crush on Sokka throughout the course of Avatar: The Last Airbender, but because she has always had trouble expressing her emotions, especially when they leave her vulnerable, she never admits this crush to Sokka, and instead she watches helplessly as he falls back in love with Suki, and the two of them affirm their pairing. Is it still a love triangle if one of the three people keeps their feelings secret? It's up to you to decide. Detractors point to the fairly large age gap between them and how Sokka shows little interest in her romantically, while supporters point to the very intimate conversations they share in episode 307, The Runaway, and in how they really understand how each other handles grief and trauma. They really connect on a deep and profound level. So thank you all for watching. I hope you leave this video with a better understanding of the Avatar shipping landscape, what pairings people like, and what arguments there are for and against these pairings. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Donate to my Patreon if you can and you want to see more videos like this. Keep watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. It is an empathetic, insightful, evocative show that is finally getting the attention it deserves. It's very sophisticated and yet very accessible, and it deserves a lot of credit for that. Anyway, tune in soon for my next analysis. It will be coming soon. I promise you that. Thank you all again. Adios, comrades.